Welcome, everyone, to the often imitated, never duplicated, the best darn comic book review podcast in Phoenix, America, and the entire planet of Earth. My name is Matt.
I'm a very sober Corbin right now.
I'm Jay.
Why are you sober?
Because I had to read Batman 93.
That's somber, not sober.
Nope, I'm sober. I was drunk in love with all my other books, and then I read Batman 93, and now I am sober.
All right. So welcome to Tales from the Spinner Rack, our weekly comic book review podcast. Buckle up, boys and girls, because this is going to be a fun one. If you go anything based on our conversation before the show started, this is going to be a good one, because for reasons unbeknownst to me, I'm about to try to defend Tynion's Batman run against someone who was defending it tooth and nail against Tom King's. So the other shoe is apparently dropped.
Yeah, you got me. You never thought you'd see this, ladies and gentlemen, but here you are. Matt defending.
It's going to happen. I love Tynion, but I did not hate Tom King's run on Batman as much as Corbin does.
I don't think anybody really did.
No, his monumental hate for it. Like, he makes it very well known.
That's okay.
Yep. Every time I throw the trash away, I just think Tom King. I don't know why. It's at the point where it's synonymous.
That's ridiculous.
I flush a toilet, Tom King flashed through my mind. I mean, there it is.
I think that's a personal thing you need to work through, man, because his run on Batman was not that bad.
No, the last 20 issues were trash.
His run on
Batman.
Batman.
Ruined Batman. He is to Batman, to me, what do you think Joel Schumacher is? Okay. Rest in peace. Anyway.
Whatever there.
Let's talk about it. Let's get into this.
Before we get into that, did anybody have any good pickups this week? Any new, like, old school books, classic Golden Age, Silver Age books you picked up this week? Anything out of the ordinary that wasn't on your weekly readers pick that you picked up just for the collection, the PC?
I got a Spectacular Spider-Man 200, Death of Harry Osborn.
Ooh, nice pickup. I got Avengers Annual 10, first appearance of Rogue.
Ooh, nice.
How much that set you back in absolute geek money?
$50.
Damn, that's actually a good deal.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Not at all. That's the lowly man could get that.
And absolute geek money. Whatever, dude.
Keep your bag and boarded, pockets loaded. No,
all right, so let's go.
Right.
Let's get into the reviews. We got our clout throwing out of the way.
That's right.
Let's get into the reviews, and I guess we're gonna kick it off. We're gonna kick it off with Batman 93. And let's talk about it. Let's clear the air here. Let's give Corbin a little bit of a therapy session here with Batman 93. Because I didn't hate this book. I actually thought it was probably the best book of the week. And I'm going to see if I can change Corbin's mind on this. Because he seems to think that there's a lot of plot holes and he doesn't understand the story. I shouldn't say he doesn't understand the story, but he thinks there's a lot of plot holes. There's a lot of things that are questionable in Corbin's mind, and we're gonna find out why. So go ahead, Corbin, unleash your review of Batman 93 for the people, and Jay and I will jump in whenever we know you're wrong.
Unleash the fury.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, do I have to? All right. So you have Tynion writing it. You have Gilliam March and Javier Fernandez as the artist. That's the creative team. Tommy Moret and David Barron on colors. You can go down the list of that, but this is the main creative team. It starts off with Batman confronting oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name now. It's right there.
The designer.
It's the D's on his face. I'm sorry.
The
designer. And basically,
I can drop some D's on your face too. D's nuts. Go, got him.
Oh my gosh, I set myself right up for that. Anyway, he's facing the designer after the events from Batman 92. And the designer is basically giving his grand scheme, master plan of how everything's come together to basically lead them to where they are. Is at this point that Batman, and this is the first issue I have with it, goes into his utility belt and just opens up a pocket and pulls out a sword. Just a straight up sword. Not some secret compartment, just pulls it out from some pouch that's there that apparently doesn't go the length of his leg, but pulls out a freaking sword. While the designer has his back turned to him, doesn't see it, but then turns around with his sword and says, "On guard," as if they are doing some duel
of all of the shit that Batman has pulled out of his utility belt over the years. Corbin has an issue with a sword.
No, but let me tell you why. Because all the stuff he's put out in his utility belt over the years comes with context. The Bat shock repellent came from the campy '60s Burt Ward and Adam West. It was a joke. It was camp. You are talking about a serious storyline right now, and you're going to pull out a sword while the designer comes out on guard as if you're doing some kind of duel that is not, "Oh, I'm trying to kill you." No, that's ridiculous to me. Meanwhile, you have another plot point where Catwoman...
Okay. So let me stop you right here.
I'm trying
here. I understand, but we're going to go through the first plot point right here. That is Deathstroke's sword. That is the sword he took off Deathstroke. He is opening that slot out of his utility belt because it's stuck through it. So he's got it sheathed in there. Like,
no, there was no sheath.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, dude. It's Deathstroke's sword.
Where do you see that? What panel are you looking? I'm looking at the same panel.
Dude, he's like pulling it out of his utility belt. Like it's sheathed in there. But okay,
I'm sorry,
anyways,
where?
Go ahead.
The artwork there? Am I giving a knock
the
on
panel
the artwork?
right here? Yeah, they're giving the same panel. Anyways, maybe
No,
okay. Either way, go ahead.
All right. Meanwhile, I mean that was my first. It's trivial.
No, you're right. He is it because it is dark in my room. It does look like there. Okay, so it does look like he pulled it out of his utility belt. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you. At worst, maybe I'll just give it a knock on the artwork and just the lack of description there, especially when we're diving in as deep as we are. But then you have another plot point where Catwoman is using, she's moving money from different accounts, from various Wayne Enterprise accounts, putting her own account so that it is safe. And she's an underbroker doing this. My question is, how is it safe? Because for one, as a criminal organization has her account information, then that alone wouldn't necessarily want me to put money into that. That doesn't make any sense. Also, the money is spread across multiple shell accounts. Then why would you not keep it there instead of putting it into one account as if someone is taking all of the money? And the third point is that if she has the account numbers and everything she needs to undergo this delicate process, why the hell does she need the underbroker with her to complete this series transaction? None of it adds up to any logical reason or any logical action to do so. It's of imperative importance that I move this money that is already dispersed in different accounts that is taking so long to kind of figure out, to keep it safe under one account that is under my name, that, oh, by the way, a criminal organization also has access to it. So there you go with that. Also, the underbroker is with me because reasons. No reason behind that. Yet another knock on that for me. And then you have, and this is probably the most irritating part of this for me, you have the continuation of the showdown between Harley Quinn and Punchline. A lot of readers super psyched about it. I would like to admit that I myself was also very pumped for this. The last issue promised the battle between the two. This issue actually follows through on that promise. But just because you get to see them fight doesn't mean that the fight was good. And it wasn't. For one, let me tell you. You're crafting a story. You're trying to get these finer points figured out. And this part was one of the first that made it seem like Tinian has never been in a fight. It's very much one of these like old like little kid shootouts where schoolyard bouts where you are, I'm such a badass and you're going to know it because I'm going to insult you and talk to you the entire time. There's so much dialogue, very one-sided, a lot of insults back and forth. He's trying so hard to make Punchline a badass when he wasn't before. He was building it up. I liked it. There was a set of mystery behind it. And now it's like he just went and leaned all the way into the heavy to make Punchline seem so bad. And Harley is like almost this mild, like, oh, you don't understand. He does this to everyone. You're falling for the same trap again. Like, that she's so concerned on this. And again, just full-length dialogue. I've never seen so many bubble panels in a fight since like the 1960s Marvel stories when half of the book was book. All right? Within these panels of action, it's all this talking. personally, if you have some verbal zingers in or out, fine. Spider-Man lives off of that. I don't mind. Maybe one or two while someone is hurt or injured, fine. You had a panel, and I'm just going to put a spoiler here, it's been a couple days now, where Harley Quinn gets her throat cut by Punchline. And then Punchline's, oh, you don't have some clever comebacks? You can barely get out through the blood coming out. Well, duh, because you slit her fucking throat. Excuse my French. I was so fired up about that. Because, like, what is the point? What are you getting at? I don't understand. It was like Tynion was doing so well. And then, and this is the word that I just understand throughout the entire book, he just got desperate. That's what it felt like, desperate. I personally don't like the monologue bubbles all over while two people are trying to, at best, beat the crap out of each other or at worst, kill each other. I don't need that. That's my own, like, comic enjoyment. So we can set some of that aside. But it just felt like between the identity of the designer, which, I mean, I'll let Matt or Jay get into it. I really could care less. I didn't expect it to be some big reveal, nor was it. But it was done for the sake of being done. The same thing with Punchline being, oh, look how quickly she dispatched Harley Quinn. She's so bad. Like, it just felt so much of a cliche. It was like a better fighting Harley Quinn. So much of a cliche, the Punchline character. I don't like what Tynion did with her in this one. And then lastly, the nonsense with Catwoman and the Underbroker. Did she get shot at the end? Did she not get shot? We hear a bang. We see her slumped over. Punchline grabs a gun in between disposing of Harley Quinn and going to her. The artwork doesn't give us any indication of anything being done that way. It's just Catwoman slumped over saying, damn, man. And we're left to the next one. As the Joker is laughing because he gets a phone call, we presume it's from Punchline, or the Underbroker at this point, basically saying that it's done, and he wants them to say it, that he's worth $100 billion. And then he just goes laughing like it's a joke, which leads to the play on a classic storyline where it's Joker's billions instead of Joker's millions. But I read this and I went, no, it was trash. No, I just, there was no redeeming quality for me. The artwork, maybe some of the questions I even have is because the artwork wasn't as clear as I would have liked. It kind of seemed all over the place. I like some splash panels where you have Batman first facing off against the designer, even with the on guard. Like, as much as I hated that stupid, juvenile, desperate line, I guess that artwork was well done. Like I said, as to the reveal of the designer, I didn't expect to be someone significant, and I wasn't, let's say, ruined by any of that. It's just the corpse of the real designer that the Joker reanimated like he's done with all these zombie corpses. So there, I told you. My problem is that none of these corpses have been as composed and as taken after the designer like the designer was. We didn't know until you look back and see the corpse. So the reveal wasn't that spectacular to me, because if you'd followed the storyline and other books in this big storyline, as Matt referenced before, you would have realized that none of these reanimated zombies actually took the personality and identity down to a T that the designer one did. So either it's a plot point gone bad, or did the Joker find some special high IQ zombie gas that worked until the mask came off? Like how did that happen? It's either a Tom King-esque revisionist history plot point that I'll have to find on Batman 94, or it was just a gaping plot hole left behind. And that annoyed me. And then finally, I'm gonna let you speak, man. I'm sorry, just let me go.
I have to agree with Kyle, Corbin. It's a comic book. Pump your brakes, bud.
No, I understand that, but when I'm here to review the comic book, I go at it seriously. All right, I understand that. You're right. For those of us who aren't invested, maybe it's because I'm financially quite strapped, and I spent a good little chunk of change. I would have kept this book there and taken my $6 and fed myself for dinner last night if I had known what the book would be. When it's coming with my money, and I don't have that absolute geek money, and you give me this, and I'm paying a good price point for it, I'm gonna get on you. No, I'm kidding. But ultimately, no, I'm fired up just because I was expecting so much. If we're gonna be, I was so personally excited for this one, and I feel kind of let down by it. And so, the exasperation, the anger, the excitement that is a la Stephen A. Smith right now is due to just how high my own expectations were, and how Tynion had made such a good run so far, in my opinion, that maybe I let myself just go up and up and up in excitement. And mind you, grading this book, after giving it all that I did, I'm probably going to give it a 2.5. Like, it wasn't like a 0 or a 1. It wasn't a horrible book, but it wasn't great. And the plot points I gave are actually real ones. I mean, you don't have to, be pouring over the panels to kind of see those if you've been following the storyline up to now. And, honestly, I just was expecting better. And so I give it a 2.5 out of 5. I look forward to Tinian having a bounce back book, bounce back issue next one. Bad books happen. It's just not what I was hoping for.
I gave this book a 4 out of 5 because I enjoyed the hell out of this issue. One, because it finally gave me what I wanted at 92, which was the Harley Quinn Punchline face-off. The stuff with the Underbroker makes sense to me because Catwoman and Bruce Wayne are together now. Catwoman knows that this is going to happen because of the dealings from the past with the designer and everyone involved. She knows that Bruce Wayne and all of Wayne's Enterprises money is in a shell account. It's a fake account. It's hidden behind Wayne Charities. So she knows that this money is already in this fake account, and she needs the Underbroker to move it so it doesn't look like it was stolen. It looks like it's a legitimate move into her accounts. They are together now. So she's trying to stop this plan by moving Bruce Wayne's money into her secret accounts that only her and the Underbroker know about. At this time, in her mind, only her and the Underbroker know about these accounts that she set up to try and stop them from taking Bruce Wayne's money. So therefore, the double cross comes, and the Underbroker double crosses her with Punchline and the Joker, and that's where you get all of that from. So there's that plot line connected right there that she knows about it. The Punchline stuff, your argument with the Punchline and Harley Quinn thing goes back to my issue. We don't know a lot about Punchline. There's a clear-cut difference between between Punchline and Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn was that she fell in love with Joker, head over heels for the Joker, would do anything for the Joker. Punchline's not that person. Joker is attracted to Punchline for different reasons. And I think it's the reverse of the relationship, that in this relationship, Joker is more attracted to Punchline than Punchline is to him. So it's the opposite of the Harley Quinn Joker relationship to me. And we don't know, and it's like you said, Harley is in that she's been there. She's trying to tell Punchline, you've been used. She's trying to talk her through it to where she makes a mistake and lets her guard down and gets her throat slit. And that comment where she's like, you're not talking now, and the blood gargling is very supervillain.
It's very cliche, can't be supervillain. It's
very,
not someone to be feared. It's straight out the villain guidebook of what should I do right now. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it's very supervillain-esque. Like it's that same badass line that any villain would use when they've just got the upper hand and walking away. The only thing I didn't like about this book was the reveal of the designer being a zombie controlled by the Joker. I thought that was very predictable, and I thought that was poor writing. I thought that right there was poor writing and poor choice on Tinian's, as he kind of needed a means to an end to connect it all. But they are pushing the Joker. They're pushing this Joker war narrative as this is the final chapter in the story of Batman and Joker. The outcome of this is the final chapter in the history of Batman and Joker. And Joker has finally had enough, and he's ready to end the game. And he went after something he's never tried to go after before, and that's the Wayne fortune. He knows who Batman's Bruce Wayne. He's going after the one thing that he's never gone after before to end Batman once and for all, and that's his billions. If he doesn't have this money, he can't get all these gadgets. He's going. It's going endgame, and I think this issue was fantastic, and I think it did a great job of setting this all up. I think you're looking at this as, I understand you're a diehard, love this Batman, your love for the Batman character, but I don't think you're ready to or wanting to see the change that's coming and the potential that this storyline could go to.
I can accept some of your argument. I can see I wasn't looking at it with a different lens. I will accept that. I like Tinian. I just feel like he was acting it was okay. There's nothing wrong with being a safe comic writer. You know, he isn't going to be the long-term Batman writer of this title. So, you know, putting in a story where you put your own little bits and pieces, but you're just continuing it. Tynion is a very solid writer. Boom. Now he's getting to a point where, again, if this is going to be the climatic Batman Joker story to end all Batman Joker stories or whatever, you get to a point where you got to take some bold decisions, some bold choices, right? Not being a comic writer, I can't go experience on how you would do such. But as a comic reader, I think we can go on how the lack of plot points or the lack of plot holes, or why there should be a lack of plot holes in a story of such potential significance. And when you have stuff like the identity of the designer, that we knew the reveal. You for those who didn't, make sure you read Secret Files or whatever. And for those who did, it's still, even knowing what it tells you doesn't help you with that makes sense. It's just poorly written. End of story, in my opinion. I will agree with you more on Punchline of the character. I guess that does make some sense, because for me, I guess I was so obsessed with the amount of dialogue in the fighting for my own personal comic reading experience that I may have overlooked the subtle difference in Harley from trying so hard to reach Punchline that she was no longer focused on the altercation. So I will concede that. I just think I was let down because this is where, okay, Tynion was writing such a good safe story. Everything was solid to me because he wasn't really making any daring big decisions. And now you get to the point where, okay, this is where you're going to put your identity as the writer here to actually reveal a major identity, continue a story moving along in a way that has some climatic stakes that is going to mean something for the next ramifications for the next issue. And I feel like there was some letdowns in that. And maybe, again, I was so hyped on him following through because I felt like all the other books were so good that a minor dip for me was like, oh my God.
Well, here's the thing.
So maybe that's why.
They're toting that, like I said, they're toting this as the Batman and Joker story to end all Batman and Joker stories.
I wish they would.
You got to understand that this is probably going to be the most strategic chess match you've seen in comic book history. These are the two biggest names, hero and villain. Hero and villain. And if DC is going on the line to tote and say this is the final chapter and the story of the history of the Batman and the Joker, you got to expect it to be a crazy chess match. And I think you've got to look at these books in a different mindset and look at it through a more strategic lens, that maybe Tynion's not going to give you everything you want, or you have to kind of read between the lines. Like we saw, Jay showed in the chat, the last page of Batgirl, and it's Barbara Gordon walking through the door and Joker's behind the door. He's going to strategically go after every member of the Batman family to take them all out before he comes for Bruce.
Yeah, he already went after Nightwing too. Remember last time when I with that crystal?
Mm-hmm. He's gone after Nightwing. He's going after Babs now, and obviously things have gone down with Catwoman. You know, so who knows? It leaves you with, you don't know what happens to Catwoman. You don't know if Harley Quinn lives or dies. The relationship between Punchline and Joker is vastly different between that of Harley Quinn, because she even says, "I'm not his girlfriend. I'm his partner." She's not in love with him and infatuated with him. She kind of saw him as a means to an end, so she's replicated and perfected things that he's done, and he's kind of got that admiration for her because she's not swooning over him, you know. So it's a different relationship, and like I said, we don't know. So we don't know a lot about her, and I think that's where your argument's coming in now, is you're finally seeing what I've been saying, is that we don't know so much about Punchline that you're like, well, this doesn't make sense, this is out of story, blah 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 blah. But and what the thing you liked so much about it is what's doing you in, because you're like, I like that we don't know that much about Punchline. But your argument is oh well, where the hell is she getting this fighting style from? How the hell does she know how to fight? You know, where is this coming from? We don't know about her. You know?
I get what you're saying. I can accept that. That is valid. All right.
What do you say, Jay? What do you think, Jay?
Okay, so
I like this.
Just to piggyback on this, the Harley Quinn Punchline thing, I kind of agree with Corbin in the sense that so Harley Quinn has been around, and she, you know, in the days of the Suicide Squad, I mean, Amanda Waller has dropped that team into meat grinders, and she's held her own through a lot.
Thank you.
And now here comes Punchline, who nobody knows. I mean, unless like Corbin said, unless she's coming straight from the League of Shadows, it was over so fast. I mean, Punchline did to Harley Quinn what lots of people have tried before and haven't managed to do, but yet somehow this, Joker's new whatever side, I don't know if it's a sidekick, I don't know, whatever it is.
Jealousy is the green-eyed monster.
And does her in a matter of, and that kind of was like, oh, come on, really? Already?
Yeah.
Dude, jealousy is a green-eyed monster. So
whatever.
What is the difference here? No. There's not whatever. Look at the Joker Harley Quinn relationship.
Whatever.
What is the difference here? Harley is jealous because Punchline is getting the attention from Joker she never got. All the stuff being dropped in, all the stuff being dropped in with the Suicide Squad. She doesn't. There's that one piece that's not there. It's the Joker isn't involved.
What panel do you see Harley at all jealous? If anything, she's a complete opposite of that. There was no aggression on Harley's side.
She's focused on their relationship.
The minute she sees Punchline, she goes, "Oh, you poor thing." There's no jealousy there.
She's focused so much on trying to reach her about Joker messing with her. She's not concentrating on the fight. Punchline's not that way.
Would she even care?
Punchline is focused.
Punchline.
Punchline is focused and not listening to her. Harley Quinn is leaving herself open because of the vulnerability of her relationship with the Joker.
Yes, but what I'm trying to say is rather than try to help her, which is what she would do, like in this issue, if she was doing it out of jealousy, then she would have her own laser focus and hatred towards Punchline for you're trying to replace me. We've read how many comics we've seen that happen. Where, you're trying to usurp me, trying to one-up me. It's happened with Harley Quinn before.
It's anger. That's cute. You really think he wants a relationship with you? He told me that once too, And
Harley didn't even react to that in a way of anger. It was, you don't understand. It's the complete opposite of, I know what you're saying, Matt, and I can agree with you to a certain extent. I get what you mean. The bottom line is, whatever relationship Harley had with the Joker that she's trying to relay to Punchline left her open to an attack. I can get you on that. I think the motion for it is completely different because having read 92 and 93, Harley went from Harley to being this doting mother. Oh no, you don't understand. What you're doing is wrong. Let me try to help you in the middle of the fight. And that's what got me.
It's the switch of personalities between Harley and Harleen.
I would prefer it being poor writing on Harley's part, but I
don't think it is.
I can agree to disagree with you on that. I think for me, that's what I was getting. Because I thought at the beginning, I went, okay, Harley had that moment because it happened in 92. She was trying to talk Punchline out. Punchline made it clear, I'm not here for discussion. And then 92, 93, Punchline is all here for discussion. Harley hasn't changed at all. And it's a continuation of that.
I think it's fantastic writing, and it did exactly what it's supposed to do. It got the internet talking. Everybody wants to know what happened to Harley Quinn. Because on Friday, DC came out and was like, we've got big Harley Quinn news coming out.
It was the end of Harley Quinn, the TV series, the season 2 finale happened.
Well, no, not just that, but they announced the Harley Quinn, what is it?
The book.
Yeah, the Out of the White Knight series.
Yeah, I was kidding. Man. But yeah.
It's got the internet talking. They want to know what happened to Harley Quinn. Is she alive? Is she dead? It was same with Cat. I agree with you that the Catwoman stuff at the end is confusing because it's like bang and then she slumps over. You don't see a gunshot wound. You don't see any of that. You don't know. You don't know if she killed the broker or if she killed or if she shot Catwoman or knocked her out. You don't know that. You don't know what's left with Harley. I completely understand, and I feel like the reveal of the Joker being or controlling the designer was playing it too safe.
Thank you. Okay, you know what? You can talk me out some. I gave it a 2.5. I'll give it a 3.
I'm staying 4. I liked it. I liked the story. I liked this is like, you're making your first move in the chess game. And Joker now has something he's not had in the past, and that's the means to fund his end. And we're going to see what happens.
I mean, I can't argue with that. Jay, what grade would you give it?
I'll give it a 3.5.
Okay. I like that. We're
we're just going up the scale. 3, 3.5, 4.
Not bad. That's solid. I stand with what
Oh, no, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say I've been talking the entire time. Go on. Come on, Jack.
I was just gonna say I liked it. I thought it was an awesome read. I mean, so much went on, and that little the punchline Harley Quinn thing. If I had to nitpick certain things, I'd nitpick that, and I'd nitpick probably that the Catwoman thing. But I thought the art was fantastic, and I mean I thought it was a really solid issue, and but yeah, if I mean and the gentleman's duel with bats and designer was kind of corny, but it was fun, and yeah, I mean I thought it was cool. That was good. Fun issue. It certainly progressed the story, that's for sure.
There you go.
All right. That's it. We talked for about 30 minutes on Batman.
That's solid, though. I'm with it.
Half the episode on Batman. So who wants to go? What book we got next?
I mean, I'll get mine out the way real quick if anyone has any.
I mean, I think we should let Gajay go since you basically just talked throughout the entire Batman.
No, if you got more bats, then
you're right. No, I was only thinking in terms of more Batman, but you're right.
If you want to go more Batman,
I'll make this very quick though, because I did cannibalize most of that talk there. My apologies.
What do you go? Are you doing Batman Beyond?
Yeah, Batman Beyond 44. Dan Jurgens, Sean Chen, great team, great book. Whoever's not reading it needs to pick it up. I can't. I keep talking. People like to say me dissing on Batman, but I've had nothing but praise for this entire Batman Beyond run. You can check every episode I've been on about this. It's such a good story. Just such a good story and such a continuation of that. This was pretty quick. In Batman Beyond 43, last episode, Spin Rack, last time we reviewed it, they just closed out the Blight storyline, and Batman Beyond was found basically a comatose Damian, who was just completely beat up, totally out of it, and was hurt bad. And so they were trying to figure out, one, why is Damian back in Gotham City after the last appearance of him and Terry McGinnis, which didn't end very well because, and I'm going to use the word jealousy right here, Damian was jealous of Bruce's relationship with Terry McGinnis. And it caused a big fight between the two of them, and then they finally agreed to disagree, or kind of agreed, okay, you know what, Damian's going to go back to the League of Assassins, and Batman and Bruce Wayne would continue to hold down the fort in Gotham. Moving right along, Damian's dragging Goliath, comes with Damian's broken body, and Batman's like, hey, we need to move. We need to get out of here. We need to go bring Damian to a hospital. And Bruce goes, no, you need to bring him here in my Bat Suite, because if you remember, the Bat Cave pretty much got destroyed by Blight in issue 43. And he's like, you need to come over to where I'm at. I have a rejuvenating bath here, or a healing bath, which is taken from some of the waters from Ra's al Ghul's rejuvenation pit, along with some of the compound I made it. The Lazarus pit. Thank you. I couldn't remember. I'm so fired up. Anyway, the Lazarus pit. He called it rejuvenation pit because he took some of the elements of Ra's al Ghul's Lazarus pit, but also some compounds of his own to minimize the violent after effects of that person coming out. That always happens in the Lazarus pit. So as Batman is with Goliath and Damian trying to get back to headquarters, they are undergoing an attack from the newly remodeled League of Assassins, who have everything you'd expect, now with increased firepower. So most of the issue is a fight between them. Batman says, hey, listen, I'd really like some help right now because Goliath can only do so much while also helping Damian. It'd be great if we had Batwoman here. Where is Batwoman? Cuts to Batwoman. Batwoman, who is Elaine, Dick Grayson's daughter, is with Dick and Barbara, and they went back to the remains of the Batcave, where apparently Bruce Wayne had made a costume for Barbara for when he was getting old. His first immediate idea for a successor was Barbara Gordon, and he made a prototype suit basically before the Batman Beyond suit for Barbara to wear to continue on the fight. As he realized he was getting too old, Barbara declined, and that's why Batman Beyond made his new suit that he continued to use until he got too old to continue. So that was cool, and it set up a reveal of seeing this suit where Elaine looks at it and goes, oh my goodness, this is perfect, and we never see it. So I guess we'll have to continue on to the next issue to find out what this suit is, how does it look, how is this new complete redesign for the character, and also that was an interesting fill-in story because you would have thought that Bruce Wayne continued the crusade as the Dark Knight alone until he was too, incapacitated to continue. And apparently, no, he had tried to come up with a succession plan. It was just declined. Goes back to Batman, Goliath, and Damian. They make it to Bruce at the headquarters. They put him in the rejuvenation pit. Damian comes out, and he is, again, the compound that Bruce put in didn't work. He's violent. He's attacking Terry, and Bruce has to step in, and then Damian takes a moment. He goes back to normal, and Damian says, listen, basically I've been overthrown at the League of Assassins by a man named Mr. Zero. He's a sworn lieutenant of Grandfather's, and he was loyal to him in his ways. He wants to bring some of that back. Unfortunately, he wants to bring back all of the negative effects as well, which include destroying the Earth to grow a new one. Basically continuing on Ra's al Ghul's legacy there. And it cuts to Mr. Zero at the very end, basically leading the League of Assassins with the plan to basically freeze over the Earth, which seems straight from a Mr. Freeze storyline, except he also has a plan to launch himself and his followers into space to avoid the cataclysmic destruction and then come back and restart.
And you said Batman 93 sounded ridiculous.
I'll
launch you into space to stop the next ice age.
I mean, listen, any of Ra's al Ghul's plans, you name one good one that sounded great for worldwide destruction. Name one good one. I mean, it's his MO. It's his shtick. It's his gimmick. I don't think I go, wow, Ra's al Ghul's plan is so cleverly cultivated. And yeah, that could really be the end of the world. It's just another run-of-the-mill end of the world story. Come on.
Breaking news.
I'm just glad he made a plan to actually get himself out of it, because Ra's al Ghul always seems to think, I'll just survive. I'll be right next to a Lazarus pit when I blow up the Earth, and I'll just roll my body into it and come back alive. Like, at least there's a plan in place.
Breaking
All
news.
I'm saying, yes.
Kyle from the Absolute Geek Podcast in the chat says Batman 93, 4.0 hands down.
I would expect him to agree with you, Matt. That is
4.0 hands down.
I'm glad. I'm just glad that Kyle is involved in reading. That's awesome. Shout out to you, Kyle. Reading those books and putting in your input. That's great. Okay.
So what's your score on Batman Beyond?
4.0 hands down.
Okay. Easy enough. Easy enough.
No, I'm just kidding. I'll give it a 3.5. Artwork was fine, sir. It was solid. It was a filler episode. If anything, the little flashback to Bruce Wayne and Barbara, although it was only in panels, was something that I was intrigued by. I'm also intrigued by the new Batsuit we're going to see. But the rest of the story, not really hold much of anything. I'll give it a 3.5.
All right. What do you got? What do you got, Jay?
I read Dead Body Road, Bad Blood from Image Comics this week. And writer is Justin Jordan, art by Benjamin Teisma, and colors by Matt Lopez. And it is a really cool, like, small town dark crime thriller. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't read anything about it. I just saw it was in image number 1. I picked it up, and it's basically so it's about a lady named Bree, and she acquired her own bar in this small town. And through the book, you kind of get the impression that Bree has seen a lot, has been kind of like in like a crime world, and she got out and she bought this bar, and now she's trying to set her life straight. She's smart. She's pretty tough, but she's got this like loser brother who's still kind of a hood rat, and he does something stupid, and now there's a lot of bad people that are after him. It never really says what he does, but he's on the run, and so everybody keeps coming to Bree at her bar saying, "Hey, cops come." Surly characters come and ask, have you seen your brother? And she's like, no, dude's a loser. Why would I keep track of him? He does what he does. I have nothing to do with him. All right. So then I'm totally like, this is a total Cliff Notes version. But at the end, you see Bree closing the bar down, and she's heading home. She walks in, and somebody, gets the drop on her and ties her up, and they're kind of getting ready to torture her, asking her where her brother is, and she gets out of it pretty violently and puts the smackdown on the dudes who tied her up, and blows her place up. And the last panel is her going after her brother, basically being like, yeah, the guy's a loser, but he's my brother. So she's gonna get to the bottom of it. But the whole thing, art was cool. The pace was on point, and you really got to kind of know these characters as much as this was like issue 1. It put an emphasis on character development, and it works. I really enjoyed it. This is like totally the kind of thing I like in film and in comics. When done right, I love it just as much. So for Dead Body Road, I give it a 4.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was pretty interested in that book. Looking it over.
Pretty cool.
I can't remember. I don't remember why I didn't pick it up on the shelves on Comic Book Day. I think it's just because I had so much other stuff already, and I was like, I'm gonna let that one go. But it looked interesting. I might have to go back and pick it up.
Yeah, man, it's pretty.
Your review sold me, Jay.
Nice.
I love when that happens here.
I know. I don't do that very often. It's cool.
The emphasis on character development really sent it home.
Yeah.
Really sold me. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and go with my first book that I read that nobody else read, and that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 105. So I know that the Last Ronin, the new Turtle spinoff, Last Ronin, is the big series everyone's looking forward to this summer. They're already in talks into turning it into a TV show for CBS All Access. So we'll see for the streaming service. So we'll see what happens with that. Turtles 5 was a nice issue because after the events of 100 with the death of Splinter and how they handled that, the Turtles have all kind of been separated. Leonardo fell into depression, and he's been pretty much just tending to his greenhouse. Michelangelo wouldn't get out of bed. He just laid in bed. Donatello kind of tried to get everyone together, while Raphael and Jennica kind of separated themselves from the clan, and Raphael became a vigilante, and Jennica was just kind of like at a loss. So in this issue, they finally have all come back together and decided that we can't let Splinter's legacy end here, that we can choose to continue to go our separate ways, or we can bring the clan back together and honor Splinter and his legacy in an appropriate way and use it as our driving force moving forward to do good in the world. So they form the new Splinter clan, basically. And so they have a new symbol. It's under a new symbol, a new name, and they decide to open their own dojo and start teaching these other mutants karate, because in the events of City at War, there was a airborne mutagen that was released, and it's turning people into mutants. So they start opening this dojo to teach these, some of these mutants in under the Splinter clan and under this new logo. And they bring in, I don't know how to say her name, Alpex or Alapex. She's a wolf character, female wolf character. She was kind of in charge of the, I believe she was working with the Foot Clan, and she had a soup kitchen and all that. And they bring her in, and she gets a green bandana, so now she's kind of like the Green Turtle. But they basically open a karate school to teach these mutants and to preserve the legacy of Splinter. And there's this other little character named Lita. She's an albino turtle. That's her right there. Right. Let me get it up there better. Right there. She's an albino turtle.
Get it up there.
Her name is Lita. She's part of it too. And she and Jennica kind of have a heart-to-heart conversation at the end about how, you shouldn't pick on people, and she was picked on and blah 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 blah. But at the end, she says that your future is your own. The future is up to us. It's open. We're free to write it, and it has her as an adult coming through a portal at the end of the issue to the Turtles' time. So,
wow.
So issue 106 to kick it off. I know we're getting ready to have the big annual event in a couple of weeks. So Turtles 105 was a good bridge issue to the next storyline, setting it up. I liked it. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Solid.
So,
Nice.
Gotta like these solid
Enjoyed
reviews today. The
enjoyed
mark
it
of a really
lot.
good week.
Who's next?
Yeah, it was a good week.
It was a
Mhm.
big
All the
week.
books I read are
Big
pretty
week for
solid.
books.
It's gonna make up for next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's me. I went back and I was trying to find a different book to add to my pull list, which has been surprisingly small. And that's been due to just my hesitancy. I'm using that. I don't even really remember if it's a word, but yeah, being hesitant to go into new series. And then books that I did want to go into new series are only like 2 or 3 were sold out in my LCS. So I went, okay, let me dig back to a book that just recently came out, catch on with that and continue. And I decided to go with The Resistance. It's a book by J. Michael Straczynski and Mike Deodato Jr. You might remember Straczynski from a bunch of things, Babylon 5, Spider-Man Run. Deodato Jr. also has quite a few things to his name as well. And this launched from one of the newer comic books publishers out there, AWA Studios, which has assembled a really good stable of great creative talent with which to put out their first wave of titles, The Resistance being one of them. It basically kicks off this entire universe, which is called the Upshot universe, which is its shared universe for mature readers, it's an imprint of a new generation of superheroes coming out in the wake of a pandemic, which it's a really more of a global cataclysmic event, but just to be real, it's kind of a pandemic. Shocking parallels to now. But in The Resistance, it's viral contagion, devastatingly high kill rate, just sweeps across the planet, kills millions. Governments react to the pandemic, crime is up, governments are becoming more totalitarian, they're becoming straight regimes. Just, I mean, again, I'm not gonna. It's just look in the news. It's a lot of stuff just seeping down to its lowest base level as a society.
Ew, seepage. Ew.
Exactly.
Nobody likes seepage.
Nobody likes seepage, right? But it turns out that as this instability globally, socially has evolved from this pandemic, the infected who miraculously did survive end up mysteriously developing superpowers, which is so needed in the face of these increasingly frightening regimes and all of the crime and social unrest that's out there. Straczynski's done work like this. He reimagined Squadron Supreme. If you read the Marvel Max imprint, he also did something with Image, Rising Stars, something similar. Basically, these grounded, like post-modern, like semi-dystopian variation of the superhero genre. This book is based a lot off of that.
I've never heard of the super hill genre. What is the super hill genre?
Superhero. I probably stole my words there.
I heard hill, but okay.
My fault. Superhero.
I'm just
some
being
of
a
it.
dick. I'm just
You good?
You did say hill, but I didn't have to point it out. I just
you wanted to be mad. I get it.
You gotta get some kind of comic relief on this show, right?
Dun, dun. Yeah, exactly. The use of the global pandemic and the government response obviously seems like, there it is. That's what popped in my head when you said that. Anyway, the use of the government response to the pandemic certainly feel timely given current events. It didn't seem intentionally, especially with when this came out. It isn't a fault of the creative team, of course. They've been doing this for months before any of this broke out. But it does kind of feel uncomfortable sometimes as you're like reading and going, oh, wow. Like,
it did, dude. I was going to say it like I was reading it and I kind of squirmed a little. I'm like, this is too almost way parallel to what's going on.
Yep, and it's kind of crazy. And Deodato Jr., as far as the art, is working with his freaking collaborative partner in Frank Martin, who's the colorist, and the artwork is like top notch. There are several splash pages that are just amazing. All the panels are detailed. He has a great use of shadows and it's weird the way he's able to highlight his illustrations. That you can see he has more rain. He did a lot of work for Marvel, but it's a lot more murkier and shadowy in terms of certain pictures. And some of it, I mean, the opening splash of just the earth got me. There was another one where a hero attempts to sacrifice herself for the betterment of the universe, and unfortunately, it's and it's proving to no effect. But like one of these like splashes is just it's vibrant when it needs to be. It's set in this dark overcast backdrop that makes all of the people and surroundings around it just pop in such a way. It's a beautiful book, and I read issue 1, so I get to issue 2, and then try to catch up when it continues along, which it has. But since it's recent enough and I haven't read it before I wanted to, it's definitely the most grounded work I've seen from this art team. They both work together on the Amazing Spider-Man, so it's definitely different. And I like the pace. It was a lot more deliberate. They were really trying to have the effects of this event be felt, especially to build up whatever opponent is going to be coming out of this resistance and establishing more of these superheroes in the wake of all of that. So it was a really good book. Really good book. I loved the way that they were able to address different avenues of what would transpire out of this. And like I said, some of it's scary, but just in general, how the government will respond, how people who are undergoing this attack from both their own government and people around them who are like, hey, we can do what we want right now. And then to come back and go, oh, wow, I have superpowers. I have a way to change this. And again, just a hell of a first issue. I give it a 4 out of 5, and I can't wait to get to number 2.
Wow. That was a good review. What do you think, Jay? Do you agree with him?
Oh, yeah. In fact, AWA Upshot, I've been so impressed with all of their books. I bought as many as I can find. That Hotel that I reviewed last week was AWA Upshot. I picked up Red Border issues 1 and 2. That Resistance, Year Zero. I think there's 1 or 2 others out there that I've picked up, but yeah, man, they've been like top notch. And yeah, I totally agree with Corbin's Resistance review. It's good books.
Corbin's
really
good
books.
I am a little tired. I didn't mean to do that.
That Batman debate really took it out of him. He was so fired up. He's ready for a nap now. He's ready for some din and to go night night.
I am kind of sleepy. No, that was good, but no, you're right. I'm actually, you were there when I picked it, but I remembered you reviewing it, Jay, as far as the AWA book and everything, because that was a hell of an opening act for that publishing house, and I'm excited to get to more of those books. I'm glad I'm able to start with a series that, there's plenty more, as you described, that I can kind of get with, that are outside of my normal comic bubble, that I can expand my reading with.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got next, Jay?
So are you ready to talk Thor, or?
Oh, you want to talk Thor right now? Ooh, we can talk Thor. I'm down to talk Thor.
Okay. So, Donny Cates, Thor number 5.
Thoughts?
So
before we get into it real quick though. So
Okay.
Thor number 5, hot book of the week. If you watched Absolute Geek on Friday or CBSI's Hot 10, it is one of the hottest books of the week. It was a low print run. It's got a first appearance of it that we're going to get to in a minute. Comic shop still had some, so you might get lucky if you're looking to pick one up. Definitely pick it up, because it could definitely be a book that is spec worthy. The variant was already a $70 book when the day it came out on Wednesday. The A cover, the normal cover, this one here is going for $15 to $30 online right now. So it's a highly speccable book. So if you're looking for that speccable book, I think the speccable book from last week is definitely going to be Thor number 5. Go ahead, Jay.
It could be speckable.
Okay, so it continues the whole Thor and Thor being Galactus Herald, and they're both trying to stop the black plague, the black
winter,
mist, the black winter, and it's this just impending doom that's supposed to come down, and it just eats universes, and apparently there's, from what we thought before, there's no stopping it. It's inevitable. It just happens. It's like a storm that just develops and it consumes. But so I don't know how spoilery we want to get.
Go
here.
for it. Just
okay.
It's been days. Just go for it.
Okay. So Thor, gets consumed by it, and he ends up inside of it, and in the eye of the storm, and he learns a lot. He learns that this thing isn't all consuming, and this thing is after one thing, and the one thing is it's after Galactus. So I guess I don't know if we were all just duped before, and Galactus just kind of manipulated what he could to selfishly protect himself. But I thought this story was awesome. Oh my gosh, man, the artwork was tremendous. It was so, and I hate using this word, but it was so like epic. It was like exactly what you want, like a Galactus Thor space story to be. But I mean, I don't know what you guys thought. I would, jeez, man, I would give this book, I'd give this book a 4.
Oh wow, okay.
Because there was a lot revealed here, and I don't know, it's just a fun read, and it wasn't boring. One thing that I think Donny Cates has done is eventually, and who knows, eventually maybe he might get here, but a lot of these Thor runs can get a little dull. Because I mean, let's face it, pre Ragnarok Thor was kind of boring. But Donny Cates has made a really good way to not make it like that, and it's been really interesting, and it's been a really fun arc so far.
Yeah,
what did you think?
Donny Cates is kind of that hot man in comics right now, isn't he? He's got everything going on with Venom. He's pretty much turned around Venom and made that a hot commodity. He's doing the same thing with Thor.
Yeah.
I love this book. I love this issue. This issue's solid 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 for me. It was kind of a bridge issue, but a lot was answered. Like, there wasn't a lot going on, but a lot was answered. Yeah. I like how when the Black Winter consumes Thor, he takes the form of the God Butcher, and you see he takes the form of like all of Thor's foes, and like you get, here it is. Here's the first look of the Black Winter right there.
Yeah,
there he is. He takes the form of Loki and backstabs him, and Thor's kind of like, this isn't true. I know what you're doing. These are all games. Quit playing games with me. And like you said, he thinks that the Black Winter is coming to destroy the Earth in Thor's world, and the Black Winter says, "No, sir, that's an incorrect statement." He's like, yours. Yeah, you like that? He's like, there's a much darker fate set upon your world. I'm here for him, my Galactus, and he gives you Galactus's real name, Gallon of Ta. Galactus. He's here for the original person he created, and he asks him, "Why do you think I let you be the only survivor from the first time this happened?" And he's like, "I'm here for a Gallon of Ta, you Galactus, my herald." So now you know that Galactus is the herald of the Black Winter, and it's kind of like he came to Thor thinking that Thor could protect him and save him from the wrath that was being set upon him by the Black Winter. So he kind of lied to him. So there's a lot of deceit and deception throughout this issue. You get the true first appearance. Don't let anyone tell you else. The true first appearance of the Dark Winter, because Donny Cates himself has come out and said that Thor number 5 is the true first appearance of the Dark Winter. And we're going to see what happens moving forward, to notice that, Galactus is using Thor kind of the same way that the Dark Winter was using Galactus. So it was a very interesting book. I can't wait for issue 6. And you hit the nail on the head, Jay, that, Donny Cates has a way of taking a character that's kind of dull and injecting some new life into him. And I think he's definitely done that so far with this Thor run. We'll see. It's only 5 issues into his run, so it could go terribly south. If we learned anything from Tom King's Batman run, revert back to that one. It can go south real fast.
0 to south.
So we'll see what happens going forward. But I'm definitely looking forward to issue 6.
Yeah,
I like it.
definitely.
All right. Who wants to go next?
That closes out mine. Yeah.
I will go. Actually, me and Jay could do another one. Jay, let's do Year Zero.
Okay.
Let's do Year Zero. So Year Zero is another one of those, like you were talking, AWA Upshot books. It's a book that had a lot of heat, good heat going into the first issue, where people were saying that's already been speculated that it's going to be turned into a TV series or on one of the streaming sites, and because it had that real big Walking Dead presence, automatically anything that says zombies, people go to Walking Dead, and what AMC did for the Walking Dead and Walking Dead did for AMC and that partnership. Everyone's looking to get their hands in the comic book properties right now. And Zero Year had that push and that buzz around it. Issue 2, if you read issue 1 or heard Jay's review, issue 2 is more of the same. You kind of said it, Jay. You're meeting these characters in different places at different times. They even kind of went Walking Dead-esque, where you had one guy who was kind of like a doomsday prepper who saw it all coming, and he has his own little underground bunker, and he's trying to radio out to people, and it ends with someone answering him finally on his radio. But yeah, you see different people at different times, and it kind of starts off with like them finding a caveman in the ice and saying that his blood and the way his blood regenerates and the way it works, it could be a cure to wiping out HIV and cancer, and so they kind of start there, and then it picks up all around the world, and you see a boy hiding in a church from a zombie minister, and you see like a hitman. They follow a hitman, and they follow, like you said, the nerdy dude who loves Dungeons and Dragons, and one of us, basically, one of us in this bunker. And it's a weird book for issue 2. I'm enjoying it though. It felt more of the same I would expect for a second issue, especially with the way these AWA Upshot books have been so far. They would take a step forward, and you'd get a little bit more out of a second issue. But what did you think, Jay?
I totally agree. I almost wish that issue 1 would have been like a double issue and included this.
Yeah.
Because it picks up exactly where all of these characters' individual stories left off. And it is kind of like, as weird as it kind of seems in the whole scheme of this book, things are kind of looking up for these characters. Like the Doomsday Prepper guy was just kind of, super lonely, and he was, and like Matt said, then, you had the guy answer him at the end, and the little boy in Mexico was, surrounded by, zombies, and somebody rescues him. And so it's a total continuation. I'm wondering at what point, will all these characters meet up?
Me too. I was wondering at what point and when all these characters' paths are going to cross, because it's only 6 issue. It's a 6-issue miniseries, and they've already done 2. So there's not a lot left to work with. There's 4 issues left. So
at what point? Yeah. Oh wow, that's interesting. You guys are intriguing me on these books.
Yes, and I mean one of the coolest characters is the Japanese assassin guy. And I don't know, all these characters are just they're intriguing. You want them to meet up, and so far it's just okay, it's just spinning it out more. But that's my only beef with this issue, is just there wasn't you wanted a little bit more progression than you got. So I don't know, what would you give it, Matt?
I think I give it a 3.5. Maybe no 3. A 3. I think 3.5 is a little too high. 3, because the introduction of the caveman stuff and the blood was a nice touch, but then it kind of, like you said, jumps to the little boy in Mexico, so you don't really know where you have that feeling that they're going to try to use this, and that's what's going to start all of this. They're going to try to use that blood for a cure, and that's kind of what's going to kick all this off. I wanted, I wanted a little bit more progression from the second issue than the first, instead of just seeing these characters kind of in the same spots that they were where you left them in the first issue. But I'm definitely gonna keep going. I'm probably gonna give it all 6, just because the zombies kind of my genre, and I'm interested to see how it happens. And I love the cover choices. Like, I love how they work this with what looks like real, like, photos. Like that could look like a real photo of people standing in the subway in Japan waiting for a train.
Yeah.
And in the back of the second issue, it gives you that preview for the cover for issue 3, and it's like a family on a picnic with the, like,
just
smoke
hanging
in the
out.
background. Yeah.
That's cool.
And so
that is cool.
it's oh no, I'm sorry, it's only a 5-issue miniseries. I thought it was 6. Okay, so it's 5-issue miniseries. So that makes it even more crucial that they've got to close it out in 3 more issues.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. But so far, I mean, if you're a horror fan or just want some different, interesting stories, AWA Upshot is kind of coming on strong. So we'll see. There's some other books out there by them that I've been digging on. So, and apparently you guys too. Them and Oni Press. Oni Press is another one that's been kicking it into high gear. So
Yeah.
what would
Definitely.
you give? What's your rating for Year Zero?
I agree. I'd give it a 3.
3.
I'm right there with you.
So, like, since I just read The Basket Full of Heads, kind of wordy but interesting. Not sure where it's going to go. Now the way it ended. Now the way it ended. You're reading that, aren't you, Jay?
It ended already.
Basket Full of Heads ended.
Yeah, it was. I liked it.
Yeah, Hill's been doing interesting work with the Hill House comics.
I thought
that myself. How Basketball Heads, I mean.
Basketball Heads was I feel was the best one.
There you go.
All those, but...
the lot.
Let's
We need some good horror. So, I can review a book I guess I read.
What?
It was a recommendation from you guys actually, or Jay specifically. After Archie in the Afterlife.
Oh.
Old school. Check it out.
Old,
good read.
Very old school.
Kind of scary. Love the art.
Do you have another individual book, Jay, or no?
I have that Texas Blood.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Go with Texas
I was
Blood.
interested in that one. Yeah.
So again, it's like this weird little theme, but again, small town crime, and it's just like an older sheriff.
Well, actually, before you get into Solo Wookie's asking if number 7 was the end
of Basketball Heads.
Yeah.
It was the end, like, for now, but it almost seems like maybe it might pick up somewhere else. Okay. But yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, I liked it.
There you go, Solo Wookie. Wookie's cookies. All right, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, that's totally fine. Yeah. So again, sheriff of a small town, older guy, and he's just kind of driving around doing his thing. And his wife's kind of like nagging at him. It's his birthday, and she really needs this casserole dish from their friends, and she's like, "Get the casserole dish," and he's like, "All right," and he goes on all these calls, and she keeps calling him. And she's like, "Did you get that casserole dish yet?" And he's like, "No, hold on, I'm busy. I'm the friggin' sheriff." And so he goes to, he gets this call of this domestic dispute, and he goes over there, and it's the friends who have the casserole dish, and he kind of senses like something's weird, and they won't let him in, and he can kind of hear a struggle, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, well, I'm here because some neighbors called, they heard a lot of noise and smacking around. I just want to make sure everything's okay." And he's like, yeah, we're fine. We'll get your stupid casserole dish, just leave us alone, kind of thing. And so the sheriff's like, all right, whatever. And so he's sitting by the side of the road, and he sees the dude, the guy who he went to his house with a domestic dispute call. And he's like just going like 100 miles an hour. And the sheriff pulls him over, and the guy's got he's covered in blood, and the sheriff just kind of like freaks out, and he's like, and he notices he's got a gun on his lap, and he's like, basically it's like, I'm sorry, sheriff, and he just puts the gun to his head, he blows his brains out, like right in front of the cop. And the story ends, and he like looks in the back seat, and like there's his casserole dish. And so again, like covered in the dude's brains and stuff,
He goes, I found the casserole dish.
But again, I'm just giving you the real shortened version, and with these characters, man. And this book just seems so cinematic. And I was looking at reading like the artists, or not the artists, the writers, kind of, how in the back sometimes they have like, oh, this is what my inspiration was, blah,
Yep.
blah. But apparently this was supposed to be a movie, and it got stuck in the funding stages. And so the guy who was doing the storyboard art, he was like, hey, how about we just do this as a comic? And so they agreed on it, and here we have this book. And he was saying, now that I did this, I'm so glad this wasn't a movie. I'm so glad we, what's he gonna say? I guess, but he said,
I'm missing out.
He's probably saying that because the talks in the background are, we're going to turn this into a movie. So it's working out both ways now. Now that it's a comic property, everybody probably wants it.
Probably, yeah.
That works.
But it's very, again, very character driven. Obviously, the story wasn't a whole lot there, but very character driven, and it was entertaining. It was funny, and it was just very slice of small town life. Granted, I've never really lived in a small town, but it was just so I don't know. It was very grounded, and I liked it a lot. Another I'll give this a 3.5, and the only reason it's not a 4 is because I don't really see where it's going after this. It almost seemed like a standalone little story. Like if this was just the one
Tupperware
issue
dish to murder somebody over.
Yeah, I guess
a new dish. Yeah.
If this was like a standalone book, I would be satisfied. I'd be like, oh, that was pretty cool. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if whatever's coming after is going to be as good as this. We'll have to see.
Maybe it's like a what are those books? Anthology type series.
Oh, maybe where they'll take just different stories out of that small town kind of thing.
And each one of the standalone type thing, almost like you did with the ice cream that you were describing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hotel was like that too, from AWA Upshot.
I like those kind. I'm trying to get on. Okay, that's cool. I'm intrigued.
All right, so I'm going to review Sleeping Beauties #1. Jay, you read this book as well, right?
I read like 3/4 of it.
3/4 of it. So this book is called Sleeping Beauties. It is based on the novel by Stephen King and Owen King. This book follows. We don't know who she is. A young woman. She wakes up in the woods naked. She's got black hair. She kind of looks like Sleeping Beauty a little bit. And she interacts with a butterfly, and these butterflies follow her out of the woods. It cuts to these two women in jail talking in a prison. You come to find out that the main character's wife in the book is she's the sheriff, and he works at the prison as a therapist. And it follows this girl she comes out of the woods. You don't know her name. You don't know anything about her. She comes across the meth lab. She pretty much finds a dead rabbit. She talks to the rabbit. The rabbit pretty much told her where she can find who did this to her or to him. And she goes after him, and it gets real brutal when she shows up at the meth head's house, and she just annihilates these two dudes, like smashing their face in, knocking teeth out, gouging out eyes. The dude's got a Mr. Hanky tattoo from South Park on his neck.
I didn't notice that.
And she just brutally murders these dudes and blows up their meth operation. And there's this disease that's sweeping Australia throughout this issue that they called Aurora disease. It's this because Aurora is the main princess in Sleeping Beauty, so Aurora they call it the Sleeping Beauty disease, and I'm sorry, it's not. I'm getting my shit mixed up. I know I said that she looks like Sleeping Beauty. She looks like Snow White, if you ask me, because Snow White had the dark hair. Sleeping Beauty was a blonde. So sorry, Snow White. But anyways, I digress. So, and it's only affecting women. So if a woman falls asleep, she gets like these cobwebs that come over her, and stuff. And so they come up to the meth dude's house, and the girlfriend that they were beating on is basically saying that the Avon lady killed my boyfriend. The Avon lady killed my boyfriend and his friend. And you see the progression of this disease where it's like cocooning women's heads, and they can't wake them up. So they don't know what's going on. They find the woman who walked out of the woods in the middle of the road, and the sheriff picks him up, and she calls the prison. And the warden of the prison is like, your wife is bringing this person in. I know this isn't protocol, but she feels like she needs a psych evaluation immediately. And that's kind of where it ends. Is they put the girlfriend in the back of the cop car, and the cop's like, so we got someone here we got a witness that can take her statement. They open the door. She falls out, and her head's in a cocoon already, and they don't know what's going on, and that's kind of where it ends. So. I thought it was super intriguing, different story. Stephen King's all over the place right now between the It movies, his the Outsider show he had on HBO, his son doing Basketball Heads and all of his other books, as well as now Sleeping Beauties. So it was intriguing to me. I give it a 3. I'll definitely go back for issue 2. What did you feel, Jay?
There's a lot going on here. It almost kind of reminded me of what's that show he had on Hulu? It wasn't him. It was taken. It was kind of inspired by some of the places and some of the like Stephen King lore that was on Hulu. I don't remember what the name of the show was. No. I can't think about it. I can't think of it, what the show's called, but it reminded me of that because there was so much going on, like right off like right from the start. Yeah, like you had that, and I was thinking, how is this all gonna come together? The lady that killed those meth heads, talking to the bunny, and then the bunny's like, there's 2 guys and a girl. And then she's like, thank you, Mr. Rabbit. Like kisses him.
Yeah, he's like upside down with
his
slit throat and bleeding out.
Yeah.
It was an incredibly violent book.
Yeah.
Especially for a theme like that, a children's book. I mean, it's not, but you know what I mean.
No.
Characters. I'm late for a very important date. Yeah, murder. Like I want to see that.
It was just bizarre, but I'm intrigued. I'll definitely pick up issue 2. I left off where the prisoner lady's head was like in that webbed cocoon, and the warden and they're kind of looking at her, and that's where I left off. But it's intriguing. I hope. See, when stuff like this happens, I don't mind, but I get really nervous that they're not going to answer all the stories definitively.
It's Stephen King. You know it's probably
so
not
they probably
stick the
won't.
landing. Yeah.
See, that's what I'm like. So because it's hard because you want to pay attention to the right thing, because more often than not, I pay attention to the thing that doesn't end up getting answered, and I get left with holding the bag.
I'll probably do that for Batman 93 today.
I mean, Stephen King's not writing the comic, but it is based off his novel. So we'll see if maybe the writer of the book actually sticks the landing and changes some things up, since it's only based off of it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Your friend.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. And are you out of books now, Jay?
Yes. Anyway, so that show's called Castle Rock.
Oh, okay.
That was on Hulu.
Oh, not the kids. No, that's something else. There's a Jim
What's it?
Henson Castle something. A Jim Henson
Fraggle Rock.
Fraggle Rock. There you go.
No,
All
it's definitely
right.
not Fraggle Rock.
No.
Oh man.
So yeah, I'm out.
All right, I got one last book this week, and then we'll do a little bit of news. So my next book is going to be Rogue Planet #2. This is a Oni Press book. Good, still good. Still good story. Remember last time these pretty much space explorers went to this planet looking to make a quick buck by salvaging ships and answering a distress beacon. When they got there, the planet pretty much attacked them by overtaking the dead bodies of astronauts or space people that have been there before. And that's kind of where this picks up, is the planet has picked up these dead bodies. It's infused them with this, like it pretty much infused itself into them and risen these spacesuits, and they're all just kind of standing around, not doing anything. And they're all wondering what should we do? Should we continue on? Should we go back to the ship? And they're like, well, no, we don't want to do anything to piss this off and feel its wrath. And then it kind of cuts to the ship, and when in the medical bay, and they're trying to like fix the ship and some of the life support systems that are on the ship, and it opens one of the life supports, and there's a guy named Terrence in it, and he's kind of being like infected by what looks like some kind of robotics or the planet itself. They don't really like go into it too much in this issue.
Oh, weird.
And he kills the guy that's sitting there fixing the systems and infuses him and takes him over. So they go out of the ship, and then they find both of their dead bodies at the end of it. And it looks like so they're coming out, and they find a blood trail. And as they're walking out, they see the one guy standing there. And as they walk out, and they call his name Francisco, he takes a spear to the head, and you see the alien race on the planet come walking out. So still really interesting book. You still don't know. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5 because you still don't know a lot of what's going on. There's not a lot of questions and answers. It's giving more questions than answers, which is fine. But I want a little bit more for it, so I'm gonna give it one more issue. Hopefully, issue 3 moves it forward a little bit more, because it's just like, okay, they didn't give any answers from issue 2, but they added another question with the life forms and the aliens showing up, and that whatever was taking over that dude's dead body. So there's a little bit more to it. Not a lot of pieces are being revealed yet, which I guess it's only issue 2, but you would expect by issue 2 to know a little bit of something, something instead of adding more to the questions. But yeah, but that's not a big deal. So 3 out of 5 for me. I'm going to come back for issue 3. I'll probably give this to issue 5. If by issue 5, I'm still kind of like, what is this planet? What is it doing? If there's something, if I don't have a little bit of answers to my questions about issue 5, I think I'm going to bail. But I'll at least give it to issue 5.
Is this an ongoing?
It is.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. As far as I know, it is. But yeah.
Cool.
I'll go for a couple more issues. I'll give it my standard 5-issue seal of approval and then bail out.
Gotta have the Matt standard.
Yep.
Okay.
That's very generous, man.
Oh.
I'm out at like 3.
I feel like you got to give it, like they say, podcasting. You don't know if you're going to do it until, most people quit at 5 episodes in. Give it at least 5 issue. I usually give a TV series about 5 episodes to get going good, and then you can kind of tell by that 5th issue where it's going, and if the writing hasn't changed or things haven't changed by that 5th issue, I kind of bail out, So I think 5 issues of a comic is a good place to hit that eject button and pop out.
Be like, it's been a real one, boys. We them boys.
Yeah. Let's get into a little bit of the news, the comic industry news for the week. There wasn't a whole heck of a lot to talk about from this week. The big one coming out, though, is that DC has decided to postpone Brian Michael Bendis' event Leviathan Checkmate indefinitely. So that Yes, they have postponed Brian Michael Bendis' event Leviathan Checkmate event indefinitely.
Oh, he's done.
Good
so
move.
that has not that's not going to come out. Like we said, DC has confirmed that Joker War will be the final chapter in the Joker Batman story. That's been huge comic book news. Harley Quinn is getting her first ongoing series. Harley Quinn Black, or well, not first ongoing series, but in the White Knight universe. Harley Quinn Black, White, Red. It's going to be a digital comic series. It's going to be digital first comic series. And then Boom Studios released their first look at their new Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So that's pretty much the big news. Moving on to what's coming out next week. Negan #1. That's all you need to know. Negan Lives is pretty much the only book worth a damn. Well, I shouldn't say that, but it's the big book coming out next week. There's some coming out next week, not a whole lot. Let's see.
Yeah, it's not a great fire path, that's for certain.
Yeah, it's definitely not a great buyer pass week, like Corbin said. Let's see. There are some books on here that I'm reading that I'm gonna go. So I still got some books, like
Chia.
like Corbin said. Dark Horse, DC. Nothing from DC next week. It's all trades.
Nope.
Nothing from Marvel next week. It's all trades.
Nope.
What?
Yep.
Yeah.
Serious?
It's 4th of July weekend.
Oh.
Of course, Dynamite has a bunch of books out. Red Sonja, Vampirella, Vengeance of Vampirella. Let's see. There's some other books here that IDW Ghostbusters Year 1 #4. That's going to be a buy up for me. I could sell you a body #4. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Urban Legends #24. Image has Negan Lives coming out. The Boys, the second issue of the new Boys series comes out next week. There's a couple other ones here. I'm looking real quick. Yeah, Marvel's all trades. There's not a lot coming out, honestly, next week. Trying to get to the Boys, Dear Becky #2. Death of the Army of Darkness #3 comes out next week. But there's really not a whole lot coming out next week. So
yeah, it's gonna be hecka light, like nothing light. Like night light.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it had to have one of those.
Well, I mean, it is, like I said, it is a holiday weekend here in the state. So that brings me to that. Is that next week there will be no Spinner Rack episode because of the holiday weekend.
Of course.
So because of the 4th of July weekend here in the States, there will be no new episode of Spinner Rack. So yeah, we'll continue on the following week. We'll be back, and you're not going to be joining us, right, Jay? You've got some stuff going on where you're going to be
probably
MIA
not
for a while.
Yeah,
they get you on that. Hey man, we get it.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah. So one of the books that's just real quick on Aftershock that's been pretty cool. A vampire book called Dark Red #10's coming out.
That's a buy for Jay, huh?
Definitely.
Okay.
There we go.
I can get behind that. But yeah, so like I said, no new Spinner Rack next week. If you guys are not watching the Absolute Geek Podcast Friday nights on YouTube, 7:30 p.m., you missed a fantastic interview with Jack O'Halloran, who played Non in Superman 2 last Friday. You can go catch it on the replay. Also, we are kicking off in July. We are kicking off an initiative to help support local comic shops. So we are going to pick a different comic shop once a month, and we're going to let everyone know where we're going to go. We're going to surprise the shops and go shop that shop to kind of support your local comic shops and boost sales and kind of give back for shops to just help out with the whole Corona thing. So, we're going to start doing that. On Facebook, we have a Absolute Geek fan page. Join that page. We have to accept you, so we'll know if you're a comic shop owner. We have to accept you, and then that's where we're going to tell you what day we're going to do it and what shop we're going to go to. Right now, we're looking at July 11th, which is a Saturday, July 11th, for doing our first one. So we're gonna help out with that. But yeah, anybody else got anything you want to talk about? Comic related?
Just what you said. I think it's a really fun idea, and I hope everyone, if you can, come out. If you're listening to this, I'd love to meet everybody who listens to this show, and I hope you guys all come out. And if not, just like Matt said, help support these comic book stores that have been hit super hard with this whole COVID thing, and just come out and say hi. And we'd love. I think I speak for all of us. We'd all love to meet you guys, even though you two already know pretty much most of a lot of the people that live here that listen to it. But I don't.
It's a unique experience every time. Like Corbin and I were at a comic shop 2 weeks ago when two people came up to him and was like, "Oh, I like the podcast." So just random that I never even knew listened to us. So it's a community, and I think a lot of it sprawls from Grizzle Geeks audience, Couch Crunchers, comic exposure. Just we all kind of work together, so our fans kind of seem to spill over. But it's gonna be a great time, guys. We come on out, support a good cause, help support a shop, give them that little boost in sales for a day, and show what this community is all about and what the comic book community really is. And it's not a bunch of degenerate nerds. It's people who want to help out, and that's really what we want to do. So we're going to go support our local comic shops like we always say, and make it a surprise, give them that little boost in sales for that day. So
make sure your pockets are loaded.
Yeah, be on the lookout for that. It's not just the shops, like restaurants too, because normally we go out and we get a lunch afterwards, and so everyone who listens to any show is welcome to come do this and join in with us and have a great time and show that community love and support, and show everyone what this community is about, and then we can do good stuff. So we're looking forward to that. But yeah, stay tuned here and to all of the Absolute Geek social media for more information, and we'll get that out to you as soon as we get everything hard pressed. But yeah, so that'll do it for this week's episode of Tales from the Spinner Rack. If this is your first time finding us on YouTube, welcome to the community. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, and turn that notification bell on so when we go live every Sunday, except for next week, at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Or you can listen to our playback on Tuesday on any of your podcasting platforms. If that's the case, please make sure to subscribe and leave us a review, as it goes a long way to help us in those podcast standings. And as Corbin says, it helps us to keep those pockets loaded. But for this week's episode of Tales from the Spinner Rack, I am Matt.
I'm Corbin.
I'm Jake.
Saying, keep them bagged and boarded, support your local comic shop, and keep them pockets loaded. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. Oh, solid.